Hey there everyone, this is Samuel Johnson and welcome back to the Xiaolin Perspectives, and today we're going to be discussing episode 13 of Xiaolin Showdown / the final episode of season 1, In the Flesh. So, previously on Xiaolin Showdown, Jack, Spicer, and Wuya managed to get their hands on a new Shengang Wu called the Heart of Zhang, a kinda literal heart that had the power to give life to the lifeless. However, in combination with various other Shengang Wu, the Heart of Zhang could act as the literal heart to a demonic being known as Mala Mala Zhang. And unfortunately, once Mala Mala Zhang was assembled by Jack Spicer, Wuya took the unstoppable warrior and told Jack Spicer to F off, she doesn't need him anymore. As such, Wuya led Mala Mala Zhang straight to the Xiaolin Temple in an attempt to, raid the place and steal its Shengang Wu reserves, but Master Feng anticipated Mala Mala Zhang's coming, and thus sent all the main characters off with a Shengang Wu to run and hide. However, Raimundo did not want to run, instead wanted to face Mala Mala Zhang head on. So much so that he actually went back to the temple after Mala Mala Zhang raided the place, and he got his ass whooped, and Wuya even managed to fly inside Raimundo's head and learn the location of the other Xiaolin monks, which resulted in Mala Mala Zhang going to where they were hiding in order to steal their remaining Shengang Wu. Thankfully, the remaining Xiaolin warriors managed to think of a counter-strategy to defeat the unstoppable demonic warrior, as they were able to use the serpent's tail to go to the center of the earth, retrieve the golden tiger claws, and thus use the tiger claws to get into Mala Mala Zhang's chest and rip out the heart, thus stopping the warrior and depriving Wuya of her unstoppable force. As a result, Clay, Omi, and Kimiko each were promoted to the rank of Xiaolin apprentice, but as for Raimundo, he was skipped over, as he not only did he defy orders, but his actions almost resulted in the death of his friends. And as such, Master Feng just told Raimundo to meditate on this and ponder everything, but Raimundo just felt angry and underappreciated, and pretty much just told everyone that he was sick of this place and that he should have never come here. And so that's where this episode actually begins, as we see Wuya as she goes back to Jack Spicer and just starts kissing up to him something fierce. As we see Jack Spicer working on a new machine, and Wuya's all like, wow, impressive craftsmanship, Jack. It looks very nice. And Jack just pretty much tells Wuya to get the hell out. Wuya, of course, tries to say, come on, let's just let bygones be bygones, but Jack is not having any of it. He doesn't want what Wuya's selling anymore, and he just wants her gone. Of course, she tries leveraging her whole ability to sense Shengang Wu and zero in on them, and of course, if Jack wants to rule the world, that'll be necessary. But that's where the device where Jack is building comes in. As it turns out, he has built a Shengang Wu tracker, which will activate once a Shengang Wu reveals itself, and then lead him right to it. As such, he just attaches it to the hull of one of his ships, planes, cruisers, I don't know. It's a small little ship, and basically it's just gonna lead him straight to the next Shengang Wu. As such, after Jack attaches it and then gets into the cockpit of his little flying device, he tells Wuya that she better not be here when he gets back, and he flies off, telling her that she's old news and has nothing of value, which kind of pisses Wuya off something fierce. In the meantime, back with the Xiaolin warriors, since Clay, Kimiko, and Omi have been, promoted to the rank of Xiaolin apprentice, they are now getting ready to be trained in another level of Shengang Wu use, though Raimundo is being forced to sit in on the lesson for reasons I don't understand. Maybe it's to try and emphasize that this is what he should be striving towards. Maybe Master Feng had a special lesson planned for him. I don't know. Point is, he has to sit in it, and Master Feng is telling him that he can't leave until the lesson's done. As such, he gives Kimiko, Clay, and Omi these distinct Shengang Wu. In the case of Kimiko, he gives her the Star Nabi, he gives Clay the Third Arm Sash, and Omi the Orb of Tornami, and he tells them to activate the Shengang Wu, which is of course saying the Shengang Wu's name, followed by the element they control. As such, Kimiko uses the Star Nabi and proclaims fire after activating it, and that's where we see it actually used as the fiery kunai that I mentioned before, and it's actually pretty cool, as it actually flies into various objects and causes them to explode on contact. In the case of Clay, when he uses the Third Arm Sash and combined with his element, it turns the Third Arm Sash as strong as stone and actually breaks through a brick wall. In the case of Naomi, when he uses the Orb of Tornami, the water it spews is so ice cold, it freezes whatever it touches. So the Xiaolin apprentices are like, oh, this is amazing! But in the case of Raimundo, he's just getting kind of annoyed because, wow, they're doing all the impressive stuff, and he's just kind of stuck on the sidelines, quite literally in this case. Omi, of course, tries cheering him up, saying that he'll dedicate himself night and day to training Raimundo, and that while he never expects Raimundo to be as good as Omi, he will at least make him adequate. This finally gets Raimundo to say, you know what? fuck this noise, as he grabs one of the Shengang Wu Master Feng brought for the demonstration, in this case the Golden Tiger Claws, and then just ports right on out of there while everyone tries to stop him by saying, no, don't go. But, yeah, he just leaves, and the place where he goes is Rio de Janeiro, as he's just kind of sitting on a cliff looking at the city, and just kind of pondering why he even left in the first place. However, Raimundo gets an unexpected visitor, in this case, Wuya, who of course tells him that she's impressed by the beauty of the city. Of course, Raimundo's on edge with Wuya, because the last time he encountered her, she went into his head and snooped around where she wasn't supposed to, but Wuya assures Raimundo that she's not here to do anything to him, and even if she wanted to, she couldn't. She's a ghost, and he's probably on guard at this point, so she's not getting back in his head. But rather, she's here to make Raimundo an offer. Apparently, according to Wuya, when she went into Raimundo's head, she saw his dissatisfaction with being a Xiaolin warrior, feeling underappreciated, having to deal with a bare-bones lifestyle, having to constantly strive for something that doesn't give him any rewards. And basically, she basically keeps trying to strike the specific nerve with Raimundo that while he isn't appreciated and given what he's worth at the Xiaolin Temple, he could get at what he wants much quicker if he sides with Wuya. Something that Raimundo is a little hesitant to, but it's clear that Wuya's words are striking a chord with him. And to further tempt him, Wuya creates an illusion of what he could get if he decides to work with her. In this case, it's literally just everything his heart desires. Video games, skating rinks, his own personal butler who hand delivers him pizza and soda. Pretty much it's just everything Raimundo wants. And Wuya tells Raimundo that if he sides with her, then she can give him all of that, and that she will appreciate him. She'll pretty much just make him have worth. And as such, as Raimundo starts thinking it over as the illusion fades, Wuya can tell that there's some discourse in his mind. And while he clearly doesn't think that it's a good idea for him to do it, there's enough hesitation in his voice that she knows that he's considering it. However, before Raimundo can give Wuya a definitive answer, Wuya suddenly reacts as a new Shengang Wu reveals itself, with her offering to start their partnership up right now so they can find it. However, Raimundo, rather than saying, yeah, sure, instead decides to use the Golden Tiger Claws to pour it away, since, well, he thinks he needs to be somewhere. Though Wuya thinks that she's got him in the bag. In the meantime, we cut back to the Xiaolin Temple just as Raimundo arrives, as, well, obviously, Dojo felt that surge as well and alerted everybody. Although when Raimundo arrives asking what Shengang Wu has revealed itself, they're like, wait, how did you know Shengang Wu was revealed? And while Raimundo tries to say it was tiger instincts, no, it's clear that nobody believes him. But either way, they got everyone there, so they go to the ancient scroll of the Shengang Wu to figure out which Shengang Wu revealed itself. And in this case, the Shengang Wu in question is a mirror called the Reversing Mirror. A Shengang Wu that has the power to, well, reverse the effects of any other Shengang Wu. With one example that the scroll showcases being the two-ton tunic. That if the Reversing Mirror was used on the two-ton tunic, it'd become as light as a feather. So, yeah, it's kind of one of those ace-in-the-hole Shengang Wu. It can pretty much just turn the tide of battle so that the opponent's Shengang Wu could be turned against them, or maybe you could use it to alter the effect of a Shengang Wu you already have. It's actually a pretty versatile one, and I kind of like it for that. As such, everyone gets loaded out, and everyone gets ready to go as everyone gets onto Dojo and flies to where the Shengang Wu is. And in this case, the Reversing Mirror is in a lighthouse. Don't know how it got there, but whatever. It's attached to one of the mirror panels that are supposed to reflect the light that shines out to the sea, and we see that Wuya has gotten there first, but because she's a ghost, she cannot grab the Reversing Mirror. And add further insult to injury, Jack Spicer arrives, having detected the Shengang Wu revealing itself thanks to his tracker, and, well, Wuya can't really do anything to stop him, as he just walks up to the mirror panel and gets ready to take the Reversing Mirror. However, that's when these Xiaolin warriors arrive and start fighting Jack, and while Jack is able to fend them off with his jackbots, it becomes a bit of keep away as both sides are trying to make a grab at the Reversing Mirror. And while Jack does eventually manage to get his hands on it, a dive from Raimundo results in both him and Jack holding the mirror, and so Raimundo challenges Jack to a Xiaolin showdown, with him wagering the Golden Tiger Claws against Jack's Lotus Twister. In the game of Raimundo's choice, it's light tag. Basically, the light of the... Hold on a second. Sorry, had to concentrate. The light of the lighthouse is going to be shining all around the arena, and basically what Raimundo and Jack have to do is stay out of the light. Whoever gets caught in the light first is the loser, and whoever avoided it is the winner. As such, with the rules in place, Jack accepts the showdown, and thus, well, Xiaolin showdown time. And it's again actually really damn cool, as the lighthouse actually seems to break apart into all these floating solid chunks, platforms just rising around the place, the night sky seems to fill out the whole area, and the only bit of lighthouse that's still functioning is the actual light as it shines around the arena in several spots. And so, Jack and Raimundo get ready to do the battle, and it's actually a pretty tense one, as they have to just keep going around the arena, utilizing the Shengong Wu that they have to just try and get into dark areas so that the light doesn't shine down on them. And they both do it rather well as they keep getting near misses and so forth, but even Raimundo starts thinking that maybe he should have done a different challenge. However, Jack tries to turn the tables on him as he used his stretchy Lotus Twister arms to hold Raimundo in place, so that even if he used the Tiger Claws, he couldn't jump through a gateway. But Raimundo manages to counter that as he just opens up a little cut in reality and then just shoves his arm through and, well, just ends up shoving one of Jack's legs, causing Jack to let go Raimundo just in time for him to miss a light. And while Jack does reorient himself when he falls, well, by the time he gets himself back in order, he doesn't have enough time to avoid the light. And so Jack gets shown in it, and thus he loses the showdown, resulting in Raimundo winning the Lotus Twister and the reversing mirror. As such, everything goes back to normal. Everyone is on the beach outside the lighthouse and thinks, and the Xiaolin warriors are congratulating Raimundo, saying that he did a job well done. He defeated Jack Spicer. Even Omi says that what he did was impressive, and he's not even a Xiaolin apprentice. And it's at that point Raimundo just coldly says, "You're right, I'm not." At which point the other Xiaolin warriors are like, "What are you talking about?" Before Raimundo looks to Wuya and says, "So where do you want him?" Yep, Raimundo's had time to think about it, and he thinks he'd be happier working with the Xiaolin Witch. As such, to the shock of everyone, Raimundo uses the golden tiger claws to open a gateway, jump through, with Wuya laughing evilly behind as she follows after, leaving the Xiaolin warriors just stunned and shocked. Though Jack Spicer is just having a laugh at the fact that one of their allies has turned traitor. So after he leaves, having that little small victory, things just kind of are a little glum. As when the Xiaolin monks do return to the temple, they're not dealing with this news well. Omi is feeling glum, and while he tries distracting himself with training, it's not doing so well. Clay is trying to do some wood carving, but he always kind of messes up when he almost finishes, as he accidentally cuts off the carving's head. And Kimiko is clearly glum, though she is trying to offer console to Omi and Clay. But it's very clearly not working. In fact, Omi even tries thinking, "Oh no, Raimundo is not actually betraying us. This is some big elaborate plan in order to ensnare the forces of evil." Which even Kimiko and Claire are like, "Well, what would be the end goal? Why would he be doing this? Why would he even need to do something this elaborate?" But Omi has complete and utter faith in Raimundo that this will work. In the meantime, Raimundo and Wuya have now set up shop on top of a random mountain. And while Raimundo thinks that this is probably a crappy base, since Wuya promised fame and riches and glory, Wuya says that Raimundo will get all that and more very soon. She just needs one specific Shengong Wu first, and in order to get it, Raimundo has to make a trip back to the temple, which while Raimundo is reluctant to do, with the temptation of drinking out of the World Cup and getting his own soccer team, Raimundo complies and goes straight to the Xiaolin temple. And the Shengong Wu that Raimundo steals from them? The serpent's tail. And unfortunately, though, as Raimundo is taking it out of the Xiaolin vault, he gets the attention of the other monks as he kicks up a wind when the temple is opened, and so they all rush to the area to investigate and see Raimundo walking out with the serpent's tail in hand, with his hood even pulled up to make him look more evil. As such, Clay and Kimiko immediately go to battle as they know right away Raimundo is trying to steal from them, and so they end up fighting him, but unfortunately Raimundo takes the fight to the air, and since he is still technically the Xiaolin Dragon of Wind, he has the high ground in the air. And so Clay and Kimiko try their best, but they don't stand a chance. And eventually the battle ends with Raimundo throwing them into a big pot that was always in the center of the room, and Omi, who tried staying out of the battle thinking this was all part of the same elaborate plan, eventually starts realizing, no, it's not an elaborate plan. Raimundo really has turned traitor, and he is stealing the serpent's tail. As such, after Kimiko and Clay are dealt with, Omi decides he needs to get into battle, but Raimundo's decided he's done having fun as he activates the serpent's tail and just flies on out of there with nothing able to stop him. And so again, the Xiaolin warriors have now gotten complete confirmation that, yeah, Raimundo has betrayed them. Yeah, I kind of like that. Like, you can tell that there was probably some doubt in their minds before. Like, they were clearly heartbroken by the news, but they could probably still think to themselves, well, maybe he's just angry right now. He'll come to his senses soon. But with this action, it has confirmed, no, he's with the bad guys now, and they're all clearly heartbroken. Hell, they even tell Master Fong about the theft, and he goes to the vault to confirm it. You can see his own heartbreak, and it's just what I love is how they showcase it with him. Like, he just looks sad when you look at his face, and it's not just sad as in, oh, the bad guy's got one of our Shengon Wu, that's bad. No, it's like genuine heartbreak and disappointment. Like, you can tell that Master Feng is just sad by the fact that Raimundo has joined the bad guys, because, well, Raimundo was one of his students. Odds are Master Feng cared about him just as much as he would the other ones. And while he was hard on him, Raimundo, for his failure and for him disobeying orders, Master Feng does clearly care about each of the Xiaolin monks. He has always been there to try and help them. Even when Raimundo was in his funk after getting his ass kicked by Tabimora, Master Feng went to offer him guidance and tried to help him. He tried telling him, like, when he realized that Raimundo wasn't even happy enough to want to play a video game, he kind of sort of tried tempting him by saying, well, if you... It's like, well, he didn't, well, not using these words, he would still say, well, if you try and gain more knowledge, I might be able to give you an advantage. Now, excuse me, I'm going to go play Goo Zombies 2, which, again, could be his own way of trying to just push Raimundo in the right direction, both to try and get him on the path to victory, while also trying to get him into an area where he can get his mind off of his troubles, video games and studying. Again, both things would help Raimundo in the long run, both in terms of strategy and in improving his mood. So seeing him look just genuinely saddened to learn what Raimundo did, it's actually it's heartbreaking, and you kind of do feel for Master Feng. However, as the other Xiaolin monks look through the vaults, they do at least have some kind of good news. Apparently, the Serpent's Tail was the only Shengon Wu Raimundo took, which confuses everyone because, hey, they got a plethora of Shengon Wu, and in previous heists, Jack Spicer took whatever he could. So why would they only want the Serpent's Tail? And it's here Master Feng realizes something. It's because right now the Serpent's Tail is all that Wuya needs. You see, let's go back to the reversing mirror. As mentioned, it has the power to reverse the effect of any Shengon Wu, and the Serpent's Tail by itself is not very harmful. It's basically just a Shengon Wu that can make for easier transport, allows you to move faster, and, as Master Feng says, it can make you ghostly. Then comes in the reversing mirror. And suddenly, the Serpent's Tail has the opposite power. Instead of turning a solid person ghostly, it can turn a ghostly person solid. And wouldn't you know it, the reversing mirror is currently in the hands of a spectral Xiaolin witch who would very much love to get back into her seat of power. So, yeah. That's not good. As such, the Xiaolin monks quickly realize they need to get on this ASAP. As such, Omi, Kimiko, and Clay get on Dojo, and they tell him that he needs to track the Serpent's Tail. Which, while he kind of has a hard time doing since it's an older Shengon Wu, he is eventually able to get on the Serpent's Tail's trail and zero in on where Raimundo and Wuya are. And sure enough, they do find them in that little mountain clearing as they're preparing the whole ritual to make Wuya solid. They have the reversing mirror set up on a rock. Raimundo's got the Serpent's Tail on standby. However, before Raimundo can actually activate the Serpent's Tail, that's when the Xiaolin monks arrive, and they manage to get the drop on Raimundo while he's talking, as they manage to kick the Serpent's Tail out of his grasp. Rather than doing the smart thing and then immediately activating the Serpent's Tail so they can just fly right on out of there, they decide to play a game of keep away, as they just toss it from one to the other while Raimundo keeps trying to make a grab for it. Eventually, Raimundo gets sick of this, though, as he uses the golden tiger claws to warp wherever he wants, and he managed to get the drop on the Xiaolin warrior who had the Serpent's Tail, in this case, Clay. And as such, the instant he's got the Serpent's Tail back, he just activates it right on the go, and then, well, that's kind of it. While Dojo does a half-hearted attempt to stop Raimundo, it does jack shit since he's ghostly now, and Raimundo just beelines right to Wuya, who immediately upon seeing Raimundo get so close, activates the reversing mirror. And suddenly, the entire area is just encompassed in a giant green explosion. The light of it just spreading out across the land, and in the sky, the moon gets eclipsed in darkness that spreads across the land, and immediately all around the area, any fauna that is stuck or flora that's caught in this darkness starts to wither up and die. And the Xiaolin monks can only just sit back and watch as they see this happen, before they all start hearing a familiar evil laugh. And sure enough, they look back to where Wuya was before, and they see her solid. And yeah, if I don't say this, someone else will. Damn. Solid Wuya? Solid 10. But yeah, she stands there shrouded in green flames, her mask covering her face before she just takes it off and shows the very beautiful but very creepy face. We see markings. Her eyes look look more reptilian. She has sharp teeth, and when someone identifies her as Wuya, she says in probably the sickly sweet tone, "In the flesh," before the episode ends as she extends her arms as the flames grow ever larger. And thus, yeah, that's the end of season 1. The bad guy just got a very big win here, and it's made very clear that the world is probably fucked. So, yeah, that's not good. But my thoughts on In the Flesh. As a finale to the first season, I think In the Flesh is really damn good. For the one thing, I like how it continues the plot threads from the Mala Mala Jong episode. As for this one, like I mentioned, one of the things that we touched base on with Raimundo in the Mala Mala Jong episode was how he felt underappreciated at the Xiaolin Temple, despite the fact that he has continually dedicated his life to the Xiaolin Temple. And we see that continued here in this episode as, well, from the outset, Raimundo continues to feel ostracized because he wasn't advanced to the rank of Xiaolin Apprentice like the other Xiaolin monks have. So, and like I said, to kind of add insult to injury, he's just forced to sit on the sidelines and watch all this. He's not given the option of, go do something else, or go play, or do some other training. No. Master Feng just tells him, no, you're going to sit in on this and watch these other people get taught lessons that we would have taught you, but we're not going to because you're not their rank yet. Which, if I was in Raimundo's shoes, I'd be a little salty about that too. It's like having a sibling who just got a new car, but your parents are just saying, well, we would have gotten you that car, but you missed curfew one night, so you're not getting it. So watch as your sibling gets it. It's adding insult to injury, and it makes sense why it would make Raimundo angrier than he was before. And especially when the comments that Omi makes throughout the episode aren't exactly helping Raimundo's case. After all, as we've established, Omi has no real social cues when it comes to interacting with people. He doesn't know what's inappropriate to talk about and what isn't. And so when he sees Raimundo all down in the dumps, Omi's way to try and cheer him up is by saying, well, don't worry, you're not good enough, but I'll at least get you halfway there. That's, again, a nice bit of a backhanded compliment right there. If it even is a compliment. It's just, of course, with all that combined, you can understand why Raimundo would feel as upset On top of that, as we mentioned, one of Raimundo's biggest character flaws is his pride. He puts high esteem on himself and what he's capable of. And combine that with what I mentioned in the Mala Mala Jong episode, his dedication to the Xiaolin Temple, he feels that he should be owed something. And yes, while he did screw up last episode, the fact that, in his mind, the fact that he was still willing to go back and defend the temple so valiantly, despite the consequences of his actions, he thought was still brave and worthy. And again, like I said, to be shown by these people that he has fought so hard for, to suddenly tell him, sorry, no, not good enough, and then continually kind of pouring salt on the wound by showing him the things he could have learned, again, you can understand why he would start getting more and more frustrated. Now, here's the thing. Raimundo, at the end of the day, is not an evil soul. Which is kind of weird, considering that in the summary, I just said he joined the bad guys. But the thing is, Raimundo ultimately only wants to feel appreciated. He wants to know that everything that he's put forth into this job was not worth nothing. He wants to be recognized for his talents, which admittedly it can be a selfish qualm, but the thing is, as Wuya mentioned, he lived a very bare bones life. He went through a lot of stuff at the Xiaolin Temple, but if you didn't want to be recognized, but the thing is, he still put up with all that. He still dealt with all the long training. He listened to Master Feng's lessons. He fought alongside alongside his other Xiaolin monks, and he fought in quite a few showdowns just to try and prove that he was as dedicated to the task as he thought he should have been. And yet, despite all that, he still got a metaphorical slap in the face when he wasn't promoted to the rank of Xiaolin Apprentice. Now, ultimately, that want for recognition is probably why he doesn't get in it. Of course, you can, and that want for recognition is probably why he did the thing he did in the Mala Mala Jong episode, as he wanted to try and show, no, I'm good enough, I can fight this thing, I can do this. And that attitude had deadly consequences for both him and his allies. And he's failing to recognize that. He is failing to realize that he is his own enemy on this. Again, I'm going to give a little bit of blame to Master Feng, because Master Feng is not recognizing that this is a fault of Raimundo's that he can't just walk away from. Since like I said, with Raimundo's pride being his biggest obstacle here, he's kind of displaying certain narcissistic tendencies. In his mind, he's not the problem. It's the temple that's the problem. They're not seeing him for all what he's truly worth, and that gets under his skin. And it's what pushes him to go to the Xiaolin side. Because despite the fact that Wuya is one of the bad guys and she ran around in his head, Wuya is tempting Raimundo with the thing he wants most. Recognition. Yes, all the monetary rewards that she promises to give him are definitely help in getting Raimundo on her side, but when it comes down to it, those things are at best a symbol of what she's truly offering him. The chance to be respected, to be recognized for his talents, and to be rewarded based on those talents. He's finally face to face with someone who, despite knowing she is evil and he has clashed with, she seems to look at him and think, no, you're good. You're actually really good. And if you were on my side, I'd give you what you're worth. And that's what wins Raimundo over to her side. It's not the monetary rewards, though that's part of it. It's not the fact that she's saying, oh, you can drink out of the World Cup, though again, that does help. It's the fact that Wuya is saying, you're worth so much more, and I see that. I see how strong you are, and I want to give you that, and I want to give you what you think you deserve if you join my side. I like that, because it's Wuya exploiting this big character flaw with Raimundo, and in a way, this acts as a good arc for Raimundo, because here he is at a point in his training where he feels like I said, I'm going to be going back over cases, so apologies in advance, where he feels like that he is not appreciated, that the people that he has served for so long do not respect him, look down on him, see him as less than he thinks he is, and now here he is finally given the chance to prove he isn't. And considering how angry he is already at the Xiaolin Temple and the people within it, This could probably be him just trying to stick it to them too, because he feels that they're all responsible. Even the friends he made who tried to comfort him after he got skipped over, he still sees as part of the problem, because they still got promoted, and yet Raimundo is still left in the dust. It's, again, kind of heartbreaking, but acts as a really interesting arc, because we see because this is ultimately the biggest showcase of one of Raimundo's character flaws. And the thing is, you still see enough of Raimundo in there that you do feel sorry for him. Because at the end of the day, Raimundo is just a kid. He's like maybe preteen or a teenager, somewhere in that age range. And all he really wants is to know that he's appreciated and understood. And yet, and the thing is, there are people in his life that do appreciate and understand him. His fellow students care about him. Kimiko, Clay, even Omi in his own way care about him. But but because of his pride, his hubris, his anger, his feeling of betrayal for being skipped over despite all the time he dedicated to the Xiaolin cause, he feels isolated, alone. And it's that isolation that Wuya takes advantage of in order to win him to her side. It's a great character piece in the show. A great character piece for Raimundo, because you do want to see him come back to the side of the angels, and ultimately it raises the stakes higher as it turns one of the main characters in the show to the bad guys. And the thing is, Raimundo, like William and Kolyoko, is a formidable force for the Xiaolin warriors, because he's not just a villain of the week. He's not just the latest threat that Jack Spicer and Wuya hired this time. He is a Xiaolin warrior. He is trained with them every day. He knows how they operate. He knows how they think, and he's had practice with the Shen Gong Wu. He is again, part of being a Xiaolin warrior is being trained in these things, to learn to utilize them in battle. And now here he is, using those same talents that Master Feng has taught him, and using them against his former friends. It's, again, really sad. And what makes it worse is that when Raimundo does join the bad guys, his demeanor almost doesn't change. And in fact, kind of complimenting how he's keeping his hood up now since he's joined the bad guys now, which I think kind of is a little silly, but I'm kind of okay with it. To kind of compliment that, the fact that he keeps up the same attitude that he had when he was with the good guys just makes it feel even more twisted. Because in his mind, it's literally just, I'm just changing sides, no big deal. It's literally just like crossing the road for him. One side the Xiaolin Temple, one side's the Heilin Witch Wuya, and basically the other side just looks a little nicer, so he's gonna see what's over there for a while. It's just kind of sick and twisted, but it also makes the tragedy feel that much greater as a result. And speaking of Wuya, the ending, I think, is a strong ending. Because the thing is, aside from the stuff with Raimundo, this still felt like a traditional Xiaolin Showdown episode. Up until Raimundo turned traitor and took all the Shen Gong Wu from his showdown to Wuya, it still just felt like a regular episode. Yeah, there was still stuff in there hinting at the darker nature, with Raimundo being angry, sulking, going to Rio, and then being confronted by Wuya. But seeing Jack building a new machine to track the Shen Gong Wu, it's advancing a plot because of what Wuya did to him, but it still is not really out of the realm of possibility. The Xiaolin monks being trained in new abilities because of their rank wouldn't be out of the realm. Wouldn't feel out of place in other episodes. And then going to get the reversing mirror, again, by itself, it just seems like standard fare. It's just regular Xiaolin Showdown stuff. They're going in, they fight Jack Spicer, deal with some robots, go into a Xiaolin Showdown with, of course, epic effects when everything goes haywire, and eventually either the good guys or the bad guys win, and the winner of the showdown reaps the spoils. With Raimundo winning, but with, like I said, with Raimundo winning the reversing mirror and the Lotus Twister. So again, it's up until the point where he officially sides with Wuya, it felt like a regular Xiaolin Showdown episode. But to see Wuya gain the advantage she does with Raimundo, it immediately turns the tides and makes you feel unsure. And when Raimundo is able to utilize his training and his experience against his former friends and runs off with the serpent's tail, again, it makes you immediately feel sorrow, because again, it's because again, it not only confirms Raimundo's with the bad guys, but it does raise the question of what Wuya wants a serpent's tail for. And when you learn what she's planning to do with it, and that this serpent's tail and the reversing mirror combined can make her solid, it raises the tension even further. Because, again, the beginning of the series told us just how much of a threat Wuya was. She had ancient Xiaolin magic, and it took everything Dashi had and the power of all the Shengong Wu, and I do mean all of them, including the stuff that hasn't revealed itself yet, just to trap her inside the puzzle box. And when she was eventually released in the puzzle box, she was incorporeal, and the most she could do was get in your head and sense Shengong Wu. Her coming back literally shifted the scales of good and evil so much that it affected all the Shengong Wu around the world and started causing them to reveal themselves one by one. This is and that's again just her in her ghostly form. What would happen if she got solid? And again, going back to the Legend of Dashi, we already know that's a bad thing, so they have to stop it. And so seeing the Xiaolin monks arrive and try and stop Raimundo, and again, not taking advantage of the fact that they have the fucking serpent's tail, which can fly them through solid objects, and should make them almost impossible for Raimundo to grab the instant they have this thing, they lose it. And they have the episode end with Raimundo actually using it in conjunction with reversing mirror to bring Wuya back. It's kind of terrifying. And again, what I love is that when the instant that Wuya becomes solid again, that you just immediately get a sense of just how powerful she truly is. As the instant she gets her physical form back, the skies darken. There's a great flame that enshrouds her. You can hear her evil laughter on the air. The entire landscape just rots away. And all she can do is just look at the warriors and smile a cold smile. It's really fucking creepy. And again, when you really see what she actually looks like, and it's a kind of a nice contrast with what you would expect as she's getting solid 10. It's like, holy shit. It immediately sets the tone of when you realize, oh, this is not going to be like a standard battle of good versus evil, because the bad guy is now at full power, and it's clear that she is getting ready and she is planning to wipe the floor with our heroes, and have that be the season finale. That's a good way of creating tension. And overall, it makes the final episode of Season 1, I think, a grand one that definitely makes you want to come back and see what happens and how the good guys are going to be able to beat back this new threat. Again, it's awesome. I love it. And just overall, it's fantastic. So, yeah, on the whole, I think In the Flesh is a damn good season finale. I love how everything is revealed, and if I can, kind of some small things I forgot to mention. One little detail that I like, what I liked is during the Xiaolin Showdown. You know how I mentioned how whenever the Xiaolin Showdown starts, the monks get into monk robes, even Jermaine got to wear one? A little hint that Raimundo changed sides? He was still in his civilian clothes even when he was in the showdown. Which is a nice way of hinting that he's still one of the bad guys now. And again, going back to the Shengong reveal, like in the case of the reversing mirror, it's some nice stuff. Again. It's a pretty cool idea. It's somewhat situational, but still a cool concept. A mirror that has the power to reverse the effects of any Shengong Wu used in conjunction with it. So, again, I like that. Again, on the whole, really damn good finale. And, yeah, Season 2 onward is definitely going to keep the pace going for the next couple episodes. So, yeah, overall, really enjoyed it. And I hope you enjoyed the video. So, yeah, I think that's about it. Thank you for watching. I'm Samuel Johnson. I hope to see you next week as we see the fallout from this and see how the Xiaolin monks try and take Wuya down since she is now at full power. So till then, I hope you have a good Friday and take care.